What up? It's your boy Wall Street, and I'm back. Ready for another season review. So thank you all for joining me today on this fine evening or morning or afternoon, whatever time of day you're listening. Appreciate you tuning in. But today, let's talk about the team that I used to think was named after chicken nuggets, the Denver Nuggets, because they were just knocked out in Game 7 of the Western Conference Semis by the number one overall seed in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Game 7 was not very pretty. It was a pretty close game up until, close to the end of the first half, and then it just started to kind of run away from the Nuggets. They looked a little bit gassed. And I think this team still has potential to win another championship. I just think it's getting harder and harder, mainly because of the competition. But obviously, Nikola Jokić had the best season that he's had in his entire career, which is incredible because the guy is a 3-time MVP. Personally, I think he is the MVP of the league. It's more likely than not going to go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. But I just don't know how you can really, thwart this guy. Jokić won MVP last year, averaging 26 points per game, 12.4 rebounds, and 9 assists. This year he averaged nearly 30 points a game, 10.2 assists, 12.7 rebounds, and he shot 41.7% from three-point range. Mind you, he also averaged a career high in steals at 1.8 a game. So I just don't know how you logically say Nikola Jokić is not the MVP. And I do believe the voting is supposed to, come out soon. So we will know who the MVP here is very soon. But Jokić, amazing. I can't say enough about this guy. He's one of the best players I've ever seen. And when you look at him, you're like, oh no, he's not going to be good. He's just going to be a dude that bodies around in the paint and gets easy layups. No, he does everything. He is incredible. He does absolutely everything and then some. So shout out Jokić. Obviously, there's some other key players on this team. Jamal Murray, who I'm a big fan of, played 67 games this season, 36 minutes a night, 21.4 points per game, 6 assists. Michael Porter Jr. was the third overall leading scorer for the team, 77 games played, 18.2 points per game. Christian Braun had a very improved season, got a ton of votes for most improved, did not win the award, but got a lot of votes. Played 79 games, 15.4 points per game, which is a huge jump. This is the first time he's ever averaged double figures in his career. So big props to Christian Braun. Aaron Gordon, obviously a huge piece of this team as well, 14.7 points per game. And then Russell Westbrook, who received votes for Sixth Man of the Year, 13.3 points per game. So they had a very decent lineup that extended past their starters as well. Not to mention Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson. They also contributed a lot throughout the regular season and in the playoffs. So Peyton Watson is a guy that I'm a big fan of. Averaged 1.4 blocks per game. And he's a guard. He's like a wing player. He's a shooting guard, small forward, 6'6", 6'7". So to be averaging 1.4 blocks per game at that size is fairly impressive. He's a very, very good defender. Plays extremely hard. Plays his heart out on every possession. And I think he's going to do big things. I honestly think one day we're going to see this dude be an all NBA defensive player. Might not be this year, might not be the next year, but eventually, and he's young. I think he's 22 years old. So he's still on a rookie deal. So let's talk about the structure of this team going forward. Jokić is under contract until 27-28 when he has a player option for $62.8 million. Jamal Murray under contract until 28-29. Michael Porter Jr. is under contract until 2027. Aaron Gordon under contract until 28-29 season. He has a player option that year for $37 million. And then Russell Westbrook is really the key free agent. I mean, he has a player option for $3.4 million for next season. I do not know if he's going to take that option. He might have the opportunity to make some more money somewhere else. But Russ has kind of gotten me where I don't think he really cares about the money at this point. He just wants to play somewhere that he actually wants to be and wants to play with a good team. So I think he fits in Denver. I think they would love to have him back. So who knows? Maybe he'll be back. But Julian Strawther, team option for next season. Peyton Watson, team option for next season. DeAndre Jordan is a free agent. Vlatko Konkar is a free agent. But basically, you have the majority of this team coming back. Dario Saric also has a player option for next season for $5.4 million. Not sure if he's going to take that or not. But they do not have a draft pick in this upcoming draft, which also kind of hinders them a little bit. But I think this Nuggets team, man, I think they have a shot. I wouldn't be, hitting the panic button or doing any of that yet. I think they have a shot. I just think a lot of people are so quick to write teams off in the NBA when it really is not necessary. It's impossible to make it to the finals every single year unless you're an absolute dynasty. And most teams in the NBA right now are not dynasties, especially the way the new luxury tax rules work with the aprons and all that stuff. It's hard to build a team that you can really keep together for a long period of time and pay them a lot of money. It just doesn't really happen anymore. And most teams are in the luxury tax. But it's going to get harder and harder and harder, right? And there's a lot of teams like OKC that have young players that are on salary-controlled contracts because they're rookies or on a rookie deal, and it's hard to beat those teams, right? You have really good players that aren't getting paid a ton of money comparatively to the rest of the league. So if you have to compete with that, it's going to be pretty tough, right? And you're always going to be growing your salary because your players are older than these guys on OKC and these guys that are going to, be in Houston and, all this stuff, right? You have this situation happening a lot more across the league because this is the new strategy. So it is what it is, right? But again, I think what's going to happen here is they're going to make some trades probably. Obviously, they fired Mike Malone with 3 games left in the regular season. They fired their GM, Calvin Booth. It feels like something might be in the works, right? Something might be going on. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that could be. If I'm Denver, I'm standing pat. I'm maybe trying to build out my bench with some more solid defenders, some additional rebounders, some additional playmakers. I just think Jokić has to do a lot, and anywhere you can add some help where he can kind of play a little bit more relaxed, I think that's the best thing you can do. Take as much pressure off of Jokić as you can. Jamal Murray has done that to an extent. I think you still need more, right? And I think you need an energy guy, right? You need that guy like Bruce Brown or a guy like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's like the energy guy at the wing. I think that would really help, right? But I wouldn't be, if I'm a Nuggets fan, right, I wouldn't be down in the dumps about this season. I think this was a good season. I think moving forward with David Adelman, we'll see what happens. I think he's a good coach. I loved Mike Malone, so I don't really know why they got rid of Mike Malone, but it is what it is. But you got to remember, when the Nuggets won the championship in 2023, the year before that, they lost in the first round. The year before that, they lost in the semis. The year before that, they lost in the conference finals. So the past 2 years, they've lost in the second round, conference semis. So, they went from losing in the first round to winning the finals. It doesn't really matter where they finish, right? I think if things had gone a little bit differently, they'd be in the Western Conference Finals right now, and they'd be playing Minnesota. Would they be able to beat Minnesota? Who knows? But I think they probably have a better chance of beating Minnesota than they do beating the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? But sometimes teams can sneak past other teams, and you might kind of squeak a win out. It could have happened with OKC. It didn't, right? But I think there's no issue with running this team back, trying it again, and there's a high possibility that they could win the championship next season. I truly believe that. I think a lot of people are saying this Nuggets team is washed, they're done, yada, yada, whatever. I'm not on that boat yet, right? I do think firing Mike Malone was the wrong decision. We'll see how that pans out. But can this team still win? Yes, absolutely. And I know they asked Jokić that question too, and he was like, "Well, we didn't, so obviously no, we can't. I don't do this what if stuff." But honestly, they could win. They'd come back next season and win. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened, right? So you can never sleep on a team that has won a championship. Same thing with the Celtics. Same thing with the Nuggets. Same thing with the Lakers. Obviously the Lakers are a bit of a different team, but like LeBron, right? The Warriors, you can never sleep on the Warriors. So I don't know, man. I don't think this team should be making any crazy moves. I think you stand pat. I think you rest up. I think you come back strong next season. But if you're a Denver Nuggets fan, leave me some comments. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what's going on in your head and what you think this team needs to do going forward. But that's all I got today, guys. I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay up, stay blessed, stay humble, handle business, stand on business. Peace out.